Hey, this is Michael Leavy from Fuzz and the Lens Productions. You may recognize me from Terrifier, Abnormal Attraction, Penance Lane, or upcoming horror film Stream. And you're listening to Don't Go Out There podcast. Stay tuned and keep on listening.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There horror movie review podcast, powered by the Big Three Roll-Up. Just want to welcome all our fans back. We really appreciate all the support. We got another awesome interview for you guys, as we are joined today by another legend of the business, an actor, producer, director, and writer. He's done it all. Known for his producing work with Abnormal Attraction, Terrifier, Fear Clinic, and Penance Lane, Mr. Michael Leavy. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. It's an honor to be on your show, and I'm just happy to get into it and be doing something now, especially with the pandemic coming to an end. And it's nice just to be out there and be working again. So.
Oh, absolutely. It's great news. Speaking of working, I mean, we usually get our interviews started off kind of by asking, what is it that got you interested and started in film?
Yeah, so it's funny. I always make a joke and saying it's basically from the womb. I was coming out of the womb. I was interested in film. Ever since I was young, me and my brother, we started just making short films, stealing my mother's camcorder and just kind of going at it. I did a lot of acting, gigs when I was younger. Plays, theater, stuff like that, little commercials here and there. And then really when I got into high school is when I started to make that transition into behind the scenes and doing a little bit more of the directing and, screenwriting and producing and, shooting and things like that. But it was definitely at a young age that I got into it and, was just kind of captivated by the magic of movie making.
Always had an interest in the horror genre specifically?
Yeah, it's funny. Two of my favorite genres are horror and comedy, which you can probably see that a lot in the work that I do and the kind of stuff that, kind of attracts me and draws me in. Horror was something that I grew up on. My mom was a big horror buff. And her and my grandfather actually were two people that got me into the first Halloween. And from there it kind of grew and Halloween is a big season here and a big holiday for my family. I always kid around and say that it's the filmmaker's holiday because you get to dress up and, kind of be whoever you want to be and have some fun. So really that's where I think my roots started with horror. And, and I think there's a reason that I love both horror and comedies because they're at both ends of the spectrum, right? You're either trying really hard to make someone scared or to make someone laugh. And you gotta have the same beats and you got to build up. And then, for comedy, it's a punchline and for horror, it's a scare. And, you do it with tension in one way, and kind of leading on for the comedy kind of thing in the setup. So it's all the same to me, at least.
Right. And yeah, that was my next question is I was going to kind of talk to you about the meshing of the horror comedy subgenre that you do so well, especially with, with projects like Halloween 60, for example, which I thought was hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
Can you maybe elaborate a little bit more on that? I mean, I know you just touched on it a little bit there.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I think they blend so well together just because it's all about timing, both of them. They're all about beats. They're all about moments. And in particular, Halloween 60, my production company, I think we thrive best in spoof situations. We pay attention to a lot of detail. And because of that, we're able to kind of find the humor in certain situations in real life and in film. So Halloween 60 was definitely our bread and butter of what we do best. And I just saw that they released a picture of what Michael Myers is going to look like. Yes. So stay tuned. Hopefully they drop that trailer soon. We'll definitely be doing another Halloween 60 kind of spin off their trailer for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was a big success for us and went viral. And that was a lot of fun. We went out to Pasadena for the Halloween 40 convention. I got a lot of friends that are in that franchise. And we had done the Halloween 60 right before. So it was really cool to go out there and they had all seen it. And I was talking to David Gordon Green about it, which was surreal and bizarre. And that's also funny. That's when Terrifier also had just come out on Netflix. So it was like that buzz started and then the Halloween 60 thing was going. So it was definitely a really cool time to be out there for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and speaking of Terrifier, I mean, we've had David and Catherine on from from Terrifier, and David especially, spoke a little to the delay you guys had, really everyone had, with that Terrifier 2 and COVID shutting down production of it. Can you speak a little bit to that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so we were definitely, going 100 miles an hour shooting that movie when COVID hit. At that particular time, it was March, and we were upstate in New York, in a little town called Canajoharie, and we had just come off a huge week of shooting, and we were gearing up to really finishing this thing. We just did like the crescendo of what we were kind of anticipating and also nervous about, this big scene that Damien put together, this really ambitious thing that we pulled off, which was tip my hat to him and everybody involved that we got it done. And so we were getting ready now for the back end of it all, just to wrap it all out. And then that's when COVID hit. Right. And at first, I'll be honest, not realizing what it was and not realizing the severity of it and not realizing how long it was going to be. I was kind of happy that we were able to take a little bit of a break because we were going nonstop. We launched the Indiegogo campaign in the summer, and then we were pre-production the whole way through. And then the fall, we just hit the ground running, and we were shooting, from really, I think we started end of September or October, around there. And we went straight through to March. So it was really exhausting, long hours shooting, and fun and great stuff we were getting, but it was definitely, at some points grueling. So it was a welcomed break, but then you didn't realize how long the break was actually going to be. We were thinking 2 weeks or something like that. And then all of a sudden, that passes and you start scratching, you got to get back to work. Luckily for us, most of the movie was in the can. So Damien was able to take a step back, kind of assess everything that we had filmed, start putting it all together, start editing it all. And then he was able to really amp up some stuff that maybe wouldn't have had the attention to detail that it would have normally had, because we were moving so quickly through everything to get it done, that he was able to say, oh, we can make this scene even cooler. We can up the effects in this. So COVID helped in that aspect of it. But again, it certainly delayed, the movie, because there were months that we weren't shooting at all. For me personally, I was able to get another project kind of ready to go and off the ground, a film called Stream that has a lot of horror icons in it. And we were able to get that movie rolling with pre-production, and Damien's a part of it. David Howard Thornton's a part of it. Basically, everybody that was on Terrifier 2 is also a part of this film. So for us to finally have gone back to work and finish up Terrifier 2, for the most part, there's just a couple of pickup things Damien has to do at this point, but for the most part, it's pretty much wrapped out. We were able to go back, finish that stuff up, and then go straight into this film, which was, really fun after all these months, just to kind of get the gang back together and continue where we left off and making good products.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it. I mean, we told them this too, but we're absolutely excited about seeing where the sequel goes, for sure. I mean, the whole character of Art the Clown has the possibility of just doing something that not many characters in the horror genre have had the opportunity to do, which is basically become legendary to an extent, like a Freddy or a Jason, and it's definitely something special you guys have here, and that cast of horror alone that you guys have put together and everything for the second one is super impressive as well.
Yeah, it's a real testament to Damien coming up with a really great character, and it's so surreal, and Dave bringing him to life, but it's so surreal just seeing what this is doing, because all of us, first and foremost, are not only movie fans, right? We're horror fans, so we're just like everybody else, loving Freddy and Jason and Michael and Leatherface and everybody in between. So for us to be a part of something that is on its way to being, as iconic as those monsters is really awesome. You know what I mean? It's really cool. And I'll tell you, the second movie really, in my opinion, I think a lot of fans are going to agree, knocks the first one out of the park. I mean, the stuff that we went for. I remember reading the script when Damien sent me an early draft and said, how the hell are we going to pull any of this off? It's like no budget. I mean, yeah, our budget was bigger than the first one for sure, but nowhere near the millions of dollars that it takes to pull off the things we were trying to pull off. And I'll tell you, we did it. Like, we really did. I mean, everybody worked together really hard to try to make this thing happen because we believed in it. We believe in each other. And it looks really, really cool. And I mean, it's got a great story, which I know a lot of people kind of had a little bit of a gripe with the first one, which Damien just wanted to kind of make it like, I think he's on record saying this 90 minutes of the end of a slasher movie, like just draw out the last 20 minutes,
Right.
90 minutes. And he successfully accomplished that, but now it's time to step up the game. And sometimes it's hard for me to say because I was in the first one. So it's like, couldn't this one have been as cool? But I mean, it's really awesome just to be a part of it in any which way and producing it and stuff and seeing where this franchise is going because it's exciting.
Right. And we just basically reviewed Wrong Turn and said pretty much we compared the two. One of our co-hosts compared the two as just like it's a simple plot, but it's very effective and it keeps your attention and it's the perfect length. And so just all the praises in the world for that for sure. So, and, heck, you've done it all from, acting, producing, directing. This is just kind of a question, for our fans and for us to ask and to know, do you find it hard to kind of shuffle those hats, or is it kind of refreshing, like you talked about a little bit, to maybe take a break from one and say, just, maybe focus on the other? Or do you have so many projects going on at one time that you don't really get the, afforded the luxury of appreciating taking off one hat and putting on the other?
It's a little bit of everything you just said.
Okay.
It's project dependent. I mean, the thing is that, yes, it is refreshing to change hats for sure. But sometimes I do wear all the hats in one project at the same time. When that's kind of where it gets a little overwhelming and you don't really take a step back. Like we were just shooting this film stream actually after Terrifier. And Marcus Slabine, who is one of the producers on it, he's the director of the Dark Offerings film. I don't know if you've heard of that movie that's going to be coming out soon. We did this during the middle of the pandemic and quarantine, socially distant movie, shot on all the technology stuff like Zoom and Skype and stuff like that. He says, take a step back for a second. He goes, just kind of realize what we're doing here. It's so cool and appreciate it because sometimes you do get lost and you don't realize it. But I enjoy changing it up every once in a while and doing different things because it keeps it fresh. It keeps me kind of on my feet. And then some projects, you're kind of more invested in just mentally because you're in the middle of it. And then other ones you could kind of take a step back and really appreciate it. And it kind of rejuvenates you, regenerates you, and makes you feel, like you're ready to take on the world. And then soon after that, you're starting to have panic attacks, right? That you got to it.
Right. Absolutely. That makes sense for sure. Speaking of other projects, can you maybe talk to us a little bit about working on Penance Lane? You're so well known for that. I mean, we had Tyler Main on, and he was very high on that project. Can you talk a little bit about kind of how that project all came to be?
Yeah, Penance Lane was a fun project. So we'd met Renee Geerlings, Tyler's wife, and Tyler a few years earlier, and they were part of our movie of Normal Attraction, which is a 80s, 90s style campy monster film comedy. And they were in that. Tyler, in my opinion, his greatest performance of his career playing Bernie the Cyclops. It was just so not what he normally does, and he really knocked it out of the park doing that. So we really got close on that project, and he had said, listen, I'm doing Penance Lane, and I love the way you guys are working. He used to sneak in and watch me and my producing partner, Steve Delasala, work through lunch and kind of come up with how we're going to make things happen. Lower budget films and stuff. So he was coming from bigger budget films and trying to do his own lower budget one. He was very interested in having our, expertise on it and how to make it happen. So he had asked us to join that project, and we went down to Georgia, and he shot the entire film pretty much in his basement. He just bought a house down there, and he had a basement that he converted into a studio, basically, where the whole Penance Lane was in his cellar there. So it was a huge set, rotating walls, and it was really cool. That was the interior. Then the exterior was in this town a couple of miles down the road. And through the whole process, from coming from an acting background, Renee and the director Peter Angert had asked if I would play one of the roles in the film. And they said, you get to be Scout Taylor Compton's boyfriend and, be abusive towards her. And I thought, that sounds like fun. So it was cool. So it was fun to be able to produce that. I was also the assistant director on that. I AD'd it and also, got to act in it a little bit. So it was definitely a fun ride. We were down there, I think, for a month shooting and another month earlier before that for pre-production. And that one went fast. That was like.
Right. That's awesome. Hey, right over your left shoulder, there's a clapperboard says Fuzz on the Lens Productions. Can you talk to our audience a little bit about Fuzz on Lens Productions? I mean, you guys have a lot of stuff coming up on the docket. I'm personally very interested in that Pennywise documentary, especially the Robert Englund story you have on the docket. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, so Fuzz on the Lens is my production company, and we started it back in legally, I guess, in 2010 officially. But we, like I said, we've been making movies for years together. And really, we're just a in-house production company that can do it all from A to Z and get everything done in between. From conception of movies to execution to shooting it to editing it. We also do short films. We do commercials. We do music videos. Doesn't matter if it's horror, drama, comedy, anything, we're collaborating with the guys from Dead Mouse Productions and Cult Film Screenings for the Pennywise documentary. They were the ones who kind of spearhead that whole thing. And we're very lucky and fortunate enough to jump on board with them and, bring that to life, those two documentaries. So that's a lot of fun. And they're great group of people, every single one of those guys. They're working really hard right now, editing the project, making sure that they're both getting out there. The Pennywise one is completely finished shooting. We did all the interviews. We actually got to interview some really cool people like Richard Thomas and Tim Reed and many other people a part of the original It. And the Robert Englund one kind of fell where everything else is right now. We were moving on it. We were doing a ton of interviews, and now there's just a few left. We were supposed to do some right before COVID hit, in between Terrifier 2, and we didn't get to do those just yet. So we got to reschedule them and plan them out. But there's only a few left, and then that'll be, ready to be released after that. So it's exciting between doing the documentaries and Terrifier 2 and shooting this new film stream. We also got some projects that aren't available to the public. They're available specifically for our Patreon, subscribers. We have a short film that's going to be coming out very soon that was a lot of fun. We shot it at a mansion here in Staten Island, New York, haunted place. It's a kind of a Conjuring kind of short. That'll be available on the Patreon. And then, we're going to be doing a podcast hopefully soon. So we're trying to venture into that a little bit. Just keep doing anything in the entertainment world that we can,
Right, absolutely. That Pennywise documentary, will it be covering just the Tim Curry 91, or are you guys covering the new remake as well? Or
they touch upon the new remake? Yeah, they touch upon it. We, we've asked some of the actors about if they've seen it, what their thoughts are on it. I mean, for the most part, it's kind of zeroed in on the original, but it's way more than that too. I mean, it kind of goes into clown phobia, and it, like we did that Staten Island clown publicity stunt thing a few years back, where we started all these clown sightings across the country, and they touch upon those things. They touch upon just Stephen King's work a little bit in general. So they really try, and they bring scholars in. So we really try to kind of make sure we hit. You know what I mean? Every kind of fascinating thing about why this thing blew up and why it's so popular, beyond just the film itself, and then also why it's coming back now. And so it's really, I mean, I know they can have like a 7-hour cut.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
Well, how they end up doing, if there's like a producer's cut or if there's something, but it's, I just say go for it. Everyone wants it. So make it as long as you can. If, people are watching, they're going to want to watch it and kind of dive in and get everything they can out of it.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Hey, can you talk to our audience some about Stream and upcoming horror film you're working on?
Yeah, so I can say a little bit. We haven't announced too much on it yet, other than what's leaked out a little bit. But I can say that some horror icons, I think, that have been announced, it stars Jeffrey Combs, the Reanimator, Mark Holton from Leprechaun and Pee-wee and Gacy, he's in it. I'm trying to make sure I don't say someone who we haven't announced yet. Tim Reed from the original It, he's in the film.
Awesome. Okay.
That connection was made actually through the Pennywise doc when we were shooting and working with him. He's involved in the project. There are like 4 or 5 other ones I can't say at the moment who's in it just yet, but they're definitely going to be well worth it to horror fans, and were awesome in the film. We're going to be releasing all this information very soon. I'd say within the next month, mostly in June, we're going to be launching an Indiegogo campaign. And for anybody that wants to, kind of learn a little bit more about it, it's a modernized slasher film, where we're kind of taking that 80s genre, 80s subgenre, I should say, and bringing it to now times and dealing with some technology and stuff like that. Because think about when Psycho and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, right? They always attacked your safe spaces, right? Halloween was, the neighborhood. Psycho was the shower and the motel, and Nightmare on Elm Street was your dreams, right? And Jaws was the water. It's like everything, was safe, and now we exploit it. So we're kind of doing that with technology, which everyone kind of has a little bit of hesitancy about it now. Should I put my credit cards online? Is the government listening to every word I'm saying? Is the Alexa picking up my conversation, right? So we kind of are mixing the two styles. My Alexa actually just went off as I said its name. I heard it, so that's freaky. So it's kind of mixing all that together. But yeah, if anybody wants to find out more as we release, if they follow us on any platform, social media, Fuzz on the Lens, Instagram, the Patreon, or Facebook or Twitter, or any of those things, we're going to be releasing a lot of information on that soon. David Howard Thornton's in it, though. I think I said that, or if not, yeah, he's in it. And Damien does some really awesome special effects. I mean, he takes everything amazing that he did on Terrifier with just the effects and brings it to this. I mean, this guy pours his heart and soul. Doesn't matter if it's his baby or if he's working with, on someone else's project or with someone else. He brings his A game across the board every time.
Well, you'll be happy to know we had Mark Holton on, and I think we had known, or it was just released or whatever about it. And we asked him about it, but he wouldn't tell us a single thing about it. So you'll be happy to know he's keeping his mouth shut. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, Mark's a great guy.
Yes, he was.
And, it's an honor to work with him. I mean, I was a big fan growing up of the Leprechaun movie, and just to have met him and become great friends. And then to be able to work on a project, 'cause he was retired for a lot of years. And then he came back for the Leprechaun Returns film. And then, this is his next movie out after that, which is really, really, it's just an honor to even have him in it. So that was a lot of fun. And he really did great. His scene's one of my favorite ones that we got so far. This is, it's exciting.
Nice. That sounds awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it. We're getting ready to wrap up, but I'm looking behind you and I see several Art the Clown or Terrifier, some memorabilia. So I just got to ask you real quick. Have you and David Howard Thornton made up for him brutally killing you yet?
We're getting there. It's a slow, it's a slow process. When a man decapitates you from behind and you don't even have a chance to fight it off, as you'd see here, this was a gift from a friend of mine for my birthday. As something like that.
Oh, wow.
That's tremendous.
It takes a little bit of time, but no, he's a cool dude. He's a lot of fun to work with and to hang out with, and he really tries to bring something, because again, he plays all these different kind of silent killers, right? And he really tries to bring something different each time that he does something. And he's very into his craft, and he's just a lot of fun to just goof around with on set for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and his voice work as the Joker too, just kind of really shows that off.
Oh, I want to see.
You can't pull that off just as anybody.
More animated stuff from him. He's been doing some voiceover stuff during the pandemic, and I definitely want to see more. I'd love to work with him on a comedy, just because I think he has so much to offer and so much to bring in that realm. We always say it, him and my brother are two guys that do voices and are great with improv. And my brother's the one, if you've seen Abnormal Attraction, he plays Finbar, this
yes.
lovely character here. Right. So we'd love to get the two of them in a couple of scenes and just kind of riff off each other. Who the hell knows where it would go?
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, David was super nice too. just want to say thank you so much for joining us, Michael. Before we end the call, would you like to shout out your social medias or plug your Patreon or anything like that one more time before we get out of here?
Yes, it's pretty simple. It's Fuzz on the Lens across the board on everything. That's how you could find us. Follow us. Our website's fuzzlens.com. If you follow any of that or subscribe to any of those platforms or find us on the Patreon, we got a lot of cool stuff coming out. You're going to hear a lot of stuff from us in the next coming weeks and especially in the next coming months of some great projects. And we're just excited to entertain the world and share it with everyone because, it's an honor to have fans that are into our work and that kind of get what we're doing and appreciate it. And that just drives us and keeps us motivated to, keep going. We love doing it for everybody.
Yeah, we are definitely going to sign up for that Patreon. I really want to see that video you guys were just talking about, or that film you were just talking about. It sounds tremendous.
Yeah, it's going to be it's cool. Hopefully that can turn into a feature soon. So we're excited.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, sir. Hey, thank you again for joining us, man. It was awesome, when you followed us and I saw all of your, your resume. You've done a lot of good work, man. So thank you for joining us. We look forward to all your future projects.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate coming on. And anytime you want to talk, just hit me up, and I'd love to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely would.
Oh, absolutely.
When I can talk a little more about Stream, then I'll come back.
Yeah, I would love to have a whole show.
Message. Send us a message or email Brian. Yeah, that's all. That sounds great.
Thank you, guys.